So lately, I've been thinking on what to actually do with my channel. Where is this going? Is it going to stay English? Am I transitioning to German? Do I want to go back to making old content as I used to? I actually do enjoy the reaction videos here and there. I'm not too sure. And right now, I was actually working on something that is a bit more, I want to say difficult, but I'm still not sure where I want to go with that. And I was thinking, let me just scroll to YouTube and see what I can find. And I think it's not that much of a surprise because I must admit I do, for whatever reason I don't get it, I do watch a lot of crime shows. My favorite one, just to kind of recommend, it's a reaction to crime shows, is Coffee House Crime. Definitely, this is not it right now, but just saying if you guys are interested. We're not here to make fun of the situation. I think altogether, even though you're like, oh, this is something you can, learn or something you can try and keep an eye to or whatever you learn in whatever kind of crime show, at the end of the day, it always leaves you shocked. It is heartbreaking and it is so. I think the shocking part is like, you're just in your apartment or you're just going about your day, you stumble across a crime show and you just think to yourself, this is actually happening, not the one we're watching, but like, in real time, somewhere, somehow, somewhat, for whatever reason, makes no sense. Mostly there's no reason. There's never going to be a reason to justify it. Most crimes, for what I've seen, you're just thinking to yourself, this is happening right now. Somewhere, somehow, for whatever reason, someone is trying to get on someone. And the worst part, even, more and more coming to learn that all these crime settings, not all of them, most of them, always in close proximity. So the person who's unfortunately harmed is always in close contact. They know each other. They're in a relationship. They're friends. They're family members. They've been friends since ages. One that I recently saw was so crazy to me. They've been friends since kindergarten or whatnot. A group of three, a girl, two boys. They've been friends. They live in the same neighborhood. Family knows each other. And obviously because they're friends, you tell each other what's going on. And she shares with them that she has a little bit of money that she's been saving. When your parents give you money here and there, it's crazy. And they took her life for money. And as I said, there's never a reason and there will never be an amount to justify doing that. But it was a joke of an amount. It was heartbreaking. And the worst, one of that friend was trying to blame it on her dad. Let's start this. Let's see. Did I say hello and welcome back to the Talk Podcast? If I did not, let's say it now. Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the Talk Podcast.
I'm scared. Bye-bye.
This lady wanted someone dead, but one slip-up would turn the entire case against her.
Well, obviously.
Northland police were stunned by a man who had arrived at the station with some shocking claims.
I said, yeah. I said, you're going to go to jail for that. I said, that's illegal. I said, that house does not belong to you.
But this was the beginning of a sinister plot they were about to unravel.
He has too much knowledge of my life that can come back and bite me out.
It all began with an unexpected tip-off to Northport Police Department in January 2013.
You're here today to give us information regarding some kind of real estate scheme to defraud that was brought to your attention. That's correct.
This is John Chamberlain, who's here to report her longtime friend and current employer, 49-year-old Janine Jones. But little did John know, he was about to throw open the doors to a case full of shocking turns.
She was buying up foreclosures and wanting me to do the plumbing renovations to them. And that's when it really started taking off.
This started off as good business. John thought he had struck a great deal. Janine, a Northport, Florida landlord, owned 13 vacant houses, fixing them up and renting them out for a steady income. As a plumber, it was a win-win for John, with extra cash and a stable place to live that Janine gave him.
And how long have you been in there?
I've been in there since June.
So, from my understanding,
last year.
Oh, June of last year.
Yes. Things started good, and then recently she told me she didn't need my help and she needed me to get out.
But John couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. And once his suspicion radar went off, there was no turning back.
I've seen them just hop through the window, drill the lock, change the locks out. They've keyed all these properties to the same lock. Right. I don't go in there anymore, but this is the key for it. Gotcha. I mean, you can have it if you want. I don't want anything to do with it.
I mean, you can have it if you want. I don't know if he knew what was up. We don't know. I don't know right now. But he's like, you can have it. He wanted them to go in there and take a look. I mean, who does that? Who gives someone, a friend and someone who you're working with, a job, and you offer to move into that place, and then suddenly you're like, I need you to get out. Something is going on.
Janine didn't actually own any of the houses. Instead, she was running a carefully crafted scam, renting out properties she didn't own, tricking unsuspecting tenants and pocketing the profits. To make it all seem legitimate, she showed fake property documents, claiming the actual owners had handed over the homes in exchange for her covering their taxes. To execute this fraud, she even had a perfect scheme that she used.
She was mad because she didn't want
Obviously, this is a bit of an older story, I'm just guessing, but look how sweet she looks. Who would have thought?
anybody to be able to trace anything back to her. That's what it was. So she had a little burner phone that she would give the number to her rental people.
John had also become a part of this scheme unknowingly while working for her as a plumber, until he got to know the truth.
There was a tenant in one of these homes that Janine was renting out. That tenant was at her home that she believed she was lawfully renting, and somebody showed up at her door claiming to own the house.
She said, I rent this house from Jan Jones. And they said, we don't even know who that person is.
However, he believed that Janine was incapable of harming those who rented or owned the houses. That's why he decided to confront and warn her.
I said, Jan, I said, you're going to go to jail for that.
But how did it all begin? To truly understand John's claims, the officers needed to go back to the very start.
Why don't you take me back to, like, how you came to know Janine? I met Jan approximately 9 years ago through church, and I became friends with her husband, Max.
Janine Jones was born in Tawas City, Michigan, and later pursued her career as a correction officer at Charlotte County Jail.
No way. You're a correction officer and you're scamming people?
In Florida. She was already a two-time divorcee raising a young son when she met Max Jones, a carpenter, in 1991. She married him the same year on October 12th, and it wasn't long after she became pregnant with their first son, Zachary Jones, better known as Zach, in 1992. Max tried his best to be a responsible father.
My happiest memories is with my father. Is every time he'd have like a side job, I was able to go with him, and it was always pretty cool to see my dad in action.
2 years later, in 1994, they welcomed their daughter, Alexandria. Now their family looked complete, and everything seemed perfect, until Janine lost her job a few years later. But the reason behind this was enough to raise red flags.
She told me she used to be a guard at the prison a long time ago, and I guess she was fired because she had some affair going with an inmate.
But
no
this was-
way. Whoa, this is getting messier and messier. I don't get this. I've heard some stories, from other YouTubers or YouTube channels who talk about this, and it's so shocking. How would you want to have it? Like, why? And you're risking your job, and you're putting your life at risk and your family. And why?
Just the beginning. Things were about to get darker. With no income, Max became the sole breadwinner, leading to stress and fights between the couple. But what they didn't know was that their lives were about to take a devastating turn. On November 27th, 2011, Max suffered a fatal heart attack at the age of 51 years, which resulted in his sudden death.
Well, okay. I mean, that's very unfortunate, and you would not really think that that is the norm, right? I'm just, thinking healthy young man, like 50 is not considered old in that fact. Also, like medically, like the perspective of being young, fit, healthy, all that good stuff, and having a heart attack. And just with this, setting of it being a crime show, it just raises suspicion. Things do happen, unfortunately. May his soul rest in peace, though. But suspicious.
I'd come home and found that there was two police officers sitting in the road, and they walked up to me and said that my dad had passed. And I asked my mom what happened, and all she told me was he had a heart attack.
Janine appeared to be a distraught wife who now had sole responsibility for her kids. Fortunately, she received a $1 million insurance payout from Max's.
Do we actually need to play this out? Like, at this point, I know what happened.
Death, which she invested in a real estate business that ultimately turned into a whole scam.
Why?
This marked a turning point.
Okay, wait, I know I'm interrupting so much, but okay, this is so stupid. I'm thinking where this is going is, unfortunately, I'm thinking that she has something to do with the heart attack. I said what I said, but I hope it's not the case, okay? I'm just so invested in this crime show. But let's assume she's not. Let's just think she's a sweetheart and she's not involved in the heart attack and he passed, unfortunately. And then, yeah, she did get this money paid out, 1 million. And then she does chooses to start a business, a real estate business. Why turn it into a scam? How does that make any sense? Why not just make it a legit business? You already have good backing, good funds to start. Why do that? Greed and stupidity is dangerous.
As Janine appeared to move on with her life quickly, she decided to make significant changes to her appearance.
The first thing I noticed was Jan decided that she needed to get boob surgery, which I thought the timing was kind of different, but I said, oh, whatever. I said, everybody grieves differently. What do I know?
After Max's death, Janine moved to a new house with her children for a fresh start. But just 6 months after her husband's passing, she began dating several men, while
Has the boob job already happened?
also consuming drugs and alcohol. It was then that she met 26-year-old Matthew Smith, who was half her age and just 2 years older than her son, Zach.
Wow.
Right away after her husband died, I can't judge, but she was like out there immediately with a new boyfriend. This Matthew Smith, he actually came about, he was her cable guy.
Shortly after Max died, her response upon seeing him was, "How would you like?"
Okay. I can't do this. We need to pause. We are listening and we are judging at this point. So I had to take a break. This is insane. I am telling you, even Dr. Phil could not handle this topic, okay? This is too much. So it's not just the fact that it's a younger, far younger person that you're dating, and it's also not just the fact that that person is a year or two younger than your son. It's more the fact that your husband just passed and you're already dating someone so out there, so openly. And plus those other two things that I just added. I mean, in her setting, it is kind of odd, okay? I'm not saying that people have never heard of age gap dating, but in this setting, I cannot hold it. It is odd. And I think if anyone or if some kind of investigators are thinking to themselves, this is kind of weird, I agree. This is kind of weird. And to add to it, he just passed with a heart attack that most likely no one really gets, but you get $1 million. You're scamming. The scam hasn't been exposed, but you get $1 million. And you're dating this far, far younger guy, just like literally when your husband passed. Now, come on, stop it. What are people going to say about you? I am definitely someone who loves the idea of, live your life and don't care in the sense of, at the end of the day, it's your choice. But I'm sorry, this is such a violation. And also, she's not even taking into consideration how her kids are going to be feeling, not only because that man is just literally their mate, but it just happened so quickly. Like dad just passed, their dad, dad just passed, and then this. Who does that?